So, Wade Johnson here. I'm like the former SPF head judge that was killing powerlifting, and I was also the chairman of the boards for about 12 years. And I've made my foray. About 3 years ago, I coached a lifter in my first USAPL meet, and I have coached Jennifer Milliken, or I've assisted, I should say. I've been her coach, whatever title you want to give me, in the last 2 nationals and 2 world championships and 2 Arnolds, and various other lifters that have done reasonably well in the USAPL. This year, one of the lifters that I coach, Corey Jean Mills, qualified, and seemingly there is a lot of blowback about how many lifters, how many days, how expensive it is, and whether or not it's an Ohio Aerogo higher bar or a Texas 20 kilo bar or an Alico bar or whatever seems to be the problem. And so I'm not one of these guys that's going to tell you, hey, back in my day we walked, to school both ways in the snow, because it wasn't the golden age. What I am going to tell you is that I lifted at big meets where the warm-up room had 3 platforms. You ever been to a national meet and there was 2 or 3 platforms to warm up on? I have, many times. And you know what? I was fucking glad to be there. You had to be a gladiator to get fucking warmed up, and there wasn't 3 or 4 or 5 fucking platforms. There was 1, maybe 2. And you didn't have a choice. There was shit gear. Sometimes someone had really good gear. And we as meet directors, this is 15, 20, 25 years ago, we would piece and part shit together that we could borrow from our friends and people that were willing to help us, because we weren't making any fucking money. Now, I realize that the entry fee is steep. But here's the thing that I've heard as a theme for over 20 years. And I want you to understand, I did my first international meet, not my first powerlifting meet, my first international meet in 1999. And I was proud to be there. I was proud that I qualified. I was proud that I was invited. And I did my very best. But later on, a few years later, I started running meets because there wasn't a local outlet for certain types of competing. And I remember the cost of buying Vanco plates, and we were used pounds, and a couple of specialty bars, and then a decent bench. And I was charging $50 for the entry fee, and people were like, "Oh my God!" But the overlying, the theme has been, especially in the last 10 or 15 years, is we want a huge venue for our national meet. And I'm going to tell you something. I've been the drug-free guy throughout all this. And more times than not, the WPO was not for the drug-free people. Now, there were some drug-free people that competed. But the thing is that in 2006, 2008, I don't remember, NASA did a drug-free pro before all these other people did anything. So you can thank Rich Peters for that. Here's the bottom fucking line. You wanted a great venue, you got one. You wanted nice awards, lots of platforms, tons of warm-up space, and then, a way to showcase the top lifters. And you got that. And what are you fucking doing? You're bitching. You're complaining and being whiny little pussies. And I'm very disappointed, because I really expected this sport to be better than that. And I'm going to tell you guys something that have been in the sport for 5 years and think you have an idea of what's fucking going on. You have 2 choices. Pay it, show up, and then collect your award for 43rd in your class, because there's going to be people that are going to be beating your ass. Or, I don't know, why don't you write a check for running the greatest meet on the planet? 1,200 lifters at a national meet in the United States. And you're complaining as to what bar is going to be used. Why don't you show up and fucking win and be quiet? Why don't you be glad that you have that kind of venue? Like I said, you can always write that check. Put up or shut up.